for your eyes only. Good morning to Sci-Fi Buzz here, Buzzers. I'm going to pull up some information here on the computer. While I do that, check out the new digs, the new Sci-Fi Central. Isn't this great? Here's an item for you. Leonard Nimoy says he ain't going to be in the next Star Trek 7, I'll tell you that. Creative differences, he says, quote unquote. Come on, Lenny, what's a Star Trek without Spock? Oh, the producers who brought back The Fugitive to the big screen last summer are planning to bring The Invaders back to Earth as well. It'll be in theaters in about a year or two. Look at this. Don't tell me you can't find a good book. Look at this. More than 1,300 new sci-fi and fantasy books are published each year. Did you know that? Plus 700 reprints. Wow, Mike, what is this? The Martin Landau Aficionados and the Barbara Bain International Newsletters address? Ooh, where's the lead on this thing? There you go. Oh, here's a typical headline. Oscar shuns sci-fi, fantasy, and horror for more worldly fare. Boy, that's been going on for the last, 60 years or so. It's 1933, and the Oscar for Best Picture goes to Cavalcade. Cavalcade? What in the world is Cavalcade? Well, we haven't seen it either, but after winning Best Picture, we understand it went on to win a more dubious honor. That of most forgotten and least screened of all 65 Best Picture winners. We do know that it does not feature a 50-foot-tall ape. That film was King Kong, a real Academy miss in a year that also produced two other genre classics, The Mummy and The Invisible Man. Go ahead, get angry, big fella. We don't blame you. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences is a self-honoring club that numbers about 3,000. Very few, it seems, fans of science fiction, fantasy, and horror. How else can we explain no Oscar for Bela Lugosi?
I am Dracula.
No Oscar for Boris Karloff.
That's not friendly.
And only a technical award for 2001, A Space Odyssey. Obviously not a breakthrough film like Oliver. The safe choice for Best Picture in 1968.
Ding dong, the witch is dead. Witch, oh witch, the witch is dead. Ding dong, the wicked witch is dead.
At least in the case of The Wizard of Oz, the great fantasy film was steamrollered over by the one film that could seriously claim to be as durable and loved. The 1939 Best Picture was Gone with the Wind. Fantasy fans can console themselves in believing that in any other year, the wizard could have reached into his little black bag and produced an Oscar for Dorothy and Company.
What's he doing? What's happening?
Apply the sci-fi bonometer test to loser E.T. and 1982 Best Picture winner Gandhi. Do you remember who you were with when you saw Gandhi? Do you remember how many Kleenex you went through watching Gandhi? And how many stuffed Gandhis do you have in your kid's closet? Sissy Spacek snubbed for Carrie. Johnny Depp dinked for Edward Scissorhands. And what about Terry Gilliam's stunner, Brazil? Movies don't get much more imaginative than this. Movies don't get much less honored. The Oscar for art direction even went to Out of Africa in 1985. How do you art direct a giraffe? The Academy has once again decided not to nominate any science fiction, fantasy, or horror films in the major categories. So come Oscar night, why not rent some of these Oscar-less films and pay your own respects to these terrific sci-fi, fantasy, and horror classics.
Smith from Dalton, Georgia. I highly recommend Ben Bova's novel, Mars. It's a great mixture of science fiction and science fact, socio-political commentary, and all-around terrific storytelling. I couldn't put it down after I started it, and I hope everyone else feels the same way.
After this disconnect, author Kevin J. Anderson and our Buzz Best Bets.
Sci-Fi Buzz is brought to you by Chrysler Plymouth, a division of the Chrysler Corporation.
for the day they can be recycled. It's painted with a new technology that reduces factory emissions. And its air conditioning refrigerant won't deplete the ozone. No matter which color neon you choose, we've done our darndest to make it green. Say hello to neon. $89.75 for starters, $12.5 nicely loaded.
When your dentist cleans your teeth, he uses special instruments that get between them. But what toothbrush would your dentist prefer to use? Well, in a recent nationwide test, dentists tried a leading flat brush and Crest Complete. The brush more dentists preferred was Crest Complete. See, Crest Complete is shaped like your teeth, so it reaches far between them. Now, shouldn't you choose Crest Complete? Of course you should. And it's now available in designer black.
You are watching Sci-Fi Buzz on the Sci-Fi Channel.
I'm Duckman, someone you never heard of, doing a show you've never seen on a night you're never home. Why the hell am I spending money on a commercial?
You're not paying. USA is paying.
And a fine network it is. Boneheads.
Duckman, Saturday nights at 10:30, 9:30 Central on USA.
Babe magnets.
Weird science. Definitely not normal. Saturday nights at 10 on USA.
Our crack staff here at Sci-Fi Buzz is quick to point out all the good stuff in horror, fantasy, comics, science fiction, high-tech, whatever, and then we put it all together for you in our Buzz Best Bets. On this week's Buzz Best Bets, a flock of nasty seagulls storm television sets, and a dream book for fantasy lovers lands in bookstores. It's been 30 years since Alfred Hitchcock's horror fantasy, The Birds, freaked out an entire generation of theatergoers. Now, Birds 2, Land's End, hopes to revive the trend when it airs on the Showtime cable network.
Did you know something like this happened before?
When, recently?
25, 30 years ago.
Touted as a non-linear sequel, Land's End's theme is similar to Hitchcock's classic, but the plot and characters are completely different. Like the original, Land's End is set in a California coastal town. But easily trained pigeons, considered intelligent birds, stood in for not-so-smart seagulls. Be sure and look out for Tippi Hedren, star of the original, who has a cameo as a shop owner. Birds 2, Land's End premieres March 19th on Showtime. For those whose tastes lean more towards fantasy than horror, a remarkable book called Minefields has just been released by Morpheus. The book contains 34 paintings by Polish surrealist painter Jacek Jorka. Initially, science fiction author Harlan Ellison was approached to write an introduction for the book. Ellison claims he took one look at the artwork and declined the offer. Turns out Ellison was so inspired by Jorka's work, he felt compelled to write a short story to accompany each of the paintings. The result is a fantastic fusion of creative talents. Minefields is in bookstores now. Those are this week's Buzz Best Bets.
This is Tim from Miami. I'd like to share with you an amazing new software product called Arts and Letters Space Age. An incredible collection of space clip art, real space clip art, including things like Saturn V and moon landings and space shuttles. And all in all, this is the must-have product for anybody who's interested in space in any way, shape, or form.
It's called Music Played on the Strings of Time, and the reason it's called that is because the Jim Croce people got upset when I tried to call it Time in a Bottle.
Kevin J. Anderson has shot to the front of the science fiction literary scene with ample portions of talent and guts. Many of his most popular books have been hard science sagas set in outer space, but he's not above working a dragon or resurrected corpse into his stories as well.
I didn't want people to go, oh, that's another Kevin Anderson book, I know what he writes, because you want to plow your own path through the creative forest. You don't want to keep wandering the same road over and over again, because then you know where everything is, and I want to keep discovering stuff.
Anderson has collaborated on 3 novels with fellow science buff Doug Beeson. The two met while working at a top-secret research lab in Northern California.
Doug Beeson is a person who I get along with very well, and it's fun to be writing together. You can brainstorm, and hey, I've got this idea of if you take an anti-nuclear protester and send her back in time to World War II, and he liked that idea, and we ended up writing that into a novel, The Trinity Paradox.
In their more recent collaboration, Assemblers of Infinity, the authors hope to recapture the essence of big sci-fi classics like 2001: A Space Odyssey and The Mote in God's Eye. The book proved to be a tremendous success and left fans begging for more.
We have a sequel in mind. In fact, we had always had a sequel in mind. We were going to write this mammoth-sized book that kind of had this 20-year gap in the middle of it, and we decided that maybe we'd better write the first half of it first, and we'll eventually do the other half so that you get the other half of the explanation.
But their top collaborative priority at the moment is Virtual Destruction, due early next year. The high-tech murder mystery is set, oddly enough, in a government research lab.
One of the important things we bring to it is that we can really write what it's like inside a top-secret government research lab. And we hope people want to read that. I mean, they might want to feel more comfortable thinking it's like Maxwell Smart going through these big slamming metal doors. But I think that it's important to show what it's really like.
These days, Anderson also passionately toils in the Star Wars galaxy. Jedi Search, the first book of his Jedi Academy trilogy, has just come out. He's busy editing Tales from the Cantina, featuring stories about the film's crazy barroom creatures. And he signed on to write a series of Star Wars comics, due out this summer from Dark Horse.
This is all Star Wars stuff, but some of it's comics, some of it's editing stories, some of it's writing novels. I have this large collection of hats that I wear all the time.
Anderson admits he's overworked, but loving every minute of it. Once notorious for the stack of rejection letters he received, few have ever been prouder to wave a working writer banner.
Maybe it's just a throwback to, for all of the years that I worked and tried to get anybody to even read my stuff, and now when people are going out of their way to ask me to do something, I don't dare say no.
Shazam! It's Captain Marvel and Harlan Ellison, too. Just ahead.
The awesome powers of Wolverine have come to Sega Game Gear. Marvel Comics X-Men on Game Gear. Play 7 different characters. Quick, hide the chalkboard.
The thinking behind Neon's cab-forward body design is really quite simple. Move some things around, pull the wheels farther apart, push the windshield forward, and voila. Now machinery gets less room and people get more room. Hey, this calls for a little traveling music. Say hello to Neon. $89.75 for starters, $12.5, nicely loaded.
The awesome powers of Wolverine have come to Sega Game Gear. Marvel Comics X-Men on Game Gear. Play 7 different characters. Quick, hide the chalkboard.
What is classic rock to you?
The 70s. Boston.
Jethro Tull.
Smoking in the boys' room.
And you get them all on Those Rockin' 70s, the ultimate collection of classic rock from the 70s Preservation Society. Over 2.5 hours of unforgettable hits from a decade when rock ruled.
By Bachman Turner Overdrive. Rod Stewart. Electric Light Orchestra. Leonard Skinner. Blue Oyster Cult.
Name your favorite classic rock song.
Rock and roll hoochie coo.
School's Out. Alice Cooper.
He's worthy.
You gotta have Meatloaf. He was huge in the 70s.
They're all on Those Rockin' 70s, the ultimate rock and roll experience. To order, call the number on your screen or send check or money order. 2 cassettes, just $19.99. 2 CDs, just $24.99. Call or write now.
Look, The Adventures of Captain Marvel on video cassette. And our own Captain Dave here. You know, I was wondering one thing. You're so young. Why are you so into Captain Marvel?
Mike, The Adventures of Captain Marvel was the greatest serial ever made.
What an endorsement, Dave.
Well, it was the first time a comic book superhero made it to the big screen.
So I suppose you want to see a story about it now, right?
Absolutely.
Roll tape. The 1941 serial, The Adventures of Captain Marvel, marked the first time a comic book superhero ever appeared on the silver screen. It's considered by many to be the finest serial ever made. And thanks to home video, you can continue to enjoy its superb special effects and first-rate production values.
Where's Miss Wallace? Where's Miss Wallace? Talk fast, or I'll...
The chapter play chronicles the exploits of the world's mightiest mortal and his alter ego, Billy Batson. A mild-mannered radio news reporter, Billy can transform himself into Captain Marvel by uttering the magic word, Shazam! So that's where Gomer Pyle got that, huh? For 12 episodes, Captain Marvel battles the Scorpion. The mysterious villain is intent on obtaining 6 optical lenses that, when aligned properly, can turn any material into solid gold or reduce it to atoms.
Focus the beam directly into the mouth of the tunnel.
Captain Marvel differs from other fantasy heroes in that he has no reservations about getting mean. Can you imagine Batman machine gunning his enemies in the back, no less? Or how about the Green Hornet using some poor guy's head for a battering ram? I don't think so. And can you picture Superman getting this nasty? Captain Marvel was brought to life by B-Western star Tom Tyler. Though he had been an Olympic weightlifter, he didn't do his own stunts, which was just as well. His stuntman, Dave Sharp, was one of the all-time best. His spectacular takeoff leaps and landings are legendary. He executed these amazing vaults with the aid of a small trampoline. To complete the illusion of flying, Republic Pictures relied on its crack special effects team, Howard and Theodore Lydecker. The brothers developed a technique which used an 8-foot-long dummy that slid along a great length of wire. The serial also borrowed lots of effects footage from other films to give it a first-class look on a shoestring budget.
We'll rig the breaches, boy. Signal when we're ready for you to haul in. Yes, sir.
If more serials had been produced with the care and enthusiasm put into the adventures of Captain Marvel, they might have survived longer. It's a splendid celebration of low-budget craftsmanship that influenced TV and movies for decades.
They weary me. They just weary me. The producer, Mr. Dick Crew, and oh, by the way, those of you who have sent in letters of concern, yes, he's much recovered. When we threw the woodpeckers on his wooden leg, we've replaced that now with a new aluminum one. It's much better. Mr. Crew says, can you tie this commentary in with the Academy Awards? I said, I got your tie-in right here, Mo. He wants me to talk about sci-fi and science fiction and the Academy Awards. Why bother? It's the same screed every year. Science fiction films make more money than any other genre of films, any other kind of films, but do you ever see them in the Academy Awards? No. They're always nominating something done by Merchant and Ivory, which would put, Teflon to sleep. In any case, I don't want to talk about the Academy Awards. I don't watch the damn dumb things. What I want to talk about are sequels. Sequels are wearying me. That's why I'm doing this one on my back. I'm really tired of it. There have only been a couple of good sequels as far as I can tell. 1978, the remake of The Body Snatchers, directed by Philip Kaufman, was wonderful. It was beautifully written, and not by Kaufman, by a writer, not a director. And then, of course, there was the David Cronenberg version of The Fly, which was remade in, I guess it was 86. Those are wonderful. Of course, in 1986 was also the remake of Invaders from Mars, which when it was originally made back in the 50s was one of the great stupid movies of all time. I always liked the zipper down the back of the Martians as they ran away from you through the caves. And of course, when they remade it, it was equally stupid. But that's beside the point. I was recently approached by a film company that wanted to remake Forbidden Planet. The great Forbidden Planet, the great MGM film. You know, Dr. Morbius, Walter Pidgeon, you know, Annie Francis, the Tiger, the whole thing. And I said to them, why remake it? Why would you want to remake it? They said, well, we own the rights. I said, no, you don't understand. It was made properly the first time. Remaking Forbidden Planet is dopey. It was made properly the first time. What you want to do is you want to do the sequel. Is it a sequel? I said, yeah. Those incredible doorways that the Krell came through. What shape were the Krell? What happened to them? Do you mean to tell me that a race that could build those machines, that could create such a planet, those people just died? No. The mystery of what happened to the Krell would be a sensational sequel film. And in fact, everybody who was left alive at the end of Forbidden Planet, at that time, Jack Kelly was not dead, he recently died, still alive. You can have them for cameos. Anne Francis and all the rest of them, Earl Holliman, all of those people can reappear. And then you have the new people go in search of the secret of the Krell. They said, oh, how fascinating. They came and they talked to us endlessly. Never heard back from them. Now, I was having dinner with Ray Bradbury the other night, and Ray said, guess what I've been asked to be a consultant on? I said, what? He said, they're going to remake Forbidden Planet. And then he dropped his head into his hands, and he went like this and said, oh my. And that's what I say, too. There's so many great ideas out there. So many books that have never been touched. Why doesn't somebody pick up J.T. McIntosh's 1 in 300 and make that? Why doesn't somebody finally, with all the morphing techniques we now have, make Alfred Bester's The Demolished Man? Who the hell has the stupidity to want to remake Forbidden Planet? It wearies me. I faint. I go, oh.
Sci-Fi Buzz romps through the alien department at Babylon 5. Next.
Sci-Fi Buzz is brought to you by Sega, creators of Genesis, Game Gear, and the coolest video games around. Welcome to the next level.
The awesome powers of Wolverine have come to Sega Game Gear. Marvel Comics X-Men on Game Gear. Play 7 different characters. Quick, hide the chalkboard.
Hi, it's me. We're meeting at 10:30. And guess what? Kevin's gonna be there.
Your face is the first thing people see when they meet you. So why trust it to soap? Take care of it with Noxema. Noxema is just for faces. It dissolves oil while in conditions, so your skin stays soft, smooth, healthy looking. You'll have your face all your life. Take care of it for healthy looking skin.
Your face belongs to Noxema.
The thinking behind Neon's cab-forward body design is really quite simple. Move some things around, pull the wheels farther apart, push the windshield forward, and voila. Now machinery gets less room and people get more room. Hey, this calls for a little traveling music. Say hello to Neon. $89.75 for starters, $12.5, nicely loaded.
You are watching Sci-Fi Buzz on the Sci-Fi Channel.
They say you're gonna bloom. What are you, plant life? Please, you've got all these decisions. You've got a life. Hey, you can make it come up roses. It helps to use this. You see, Secret is pH balance for your body's chemistry. pH balance for your decisions, your life. Helps keep you dry, confident, so when you're faced with one of these, you won't pull one of these. Secret, strong enough for him, but pH balance just for you.
The awesome powers of Wolverine have come to Sega Game Gear. Marvel Comics X-Men on Game Gear. Play 7 different characters. Quick, hide the chalkboard.
We should have wiped out your kind when we had the chance.
What happened? Run out of small children to butcher?
Somewhere between the human-like aliens of Star Trek and the wacky aliens of Star Wars lie the aliens of Babylon 5. The titanic task of creating the Minbari, Narn, and other alien residents of TV's newest sci-fi universe has landed in the hands of Optic Nerve. The ambitious young makeup effects group has worked its magic on films like Batman Returns and The Dark Half. Co-founder Everett Burrell gave us the run of the makeup effects area. What better way to get up close and personal with the aliens of Babylon 5?
Hi, do you have anything in a fly face?
Let me think. Would this do?
Yeah, that'll do. That'll do fine. Now, what's your background?
My background? I'm what's called a special makeup effects artist, and we make people look ugly, whereas the regular makeup artists make people, pretty. So they take the blotches out, we put the blotches back in. That's usually how it works.
Babylon 5. Will it be a hit? Why is it a hit? Well, what do you think?
It's weird. We're obviously going to be compared to other shows, and but the thing is, we're just different. It's a different type of universe. It's a different type of way of looking at things.
Mm-hmm.
The aliens will be different.
How will they be different?
Different in terms of we'll be a little more elaborate. It's not just going to be a forehead or ears. It's going to be a whole suit or a whole mechanical head, and we're just going to take it one step further. We feel not only do we have to compete with these other shows, but we have to really make it just very different. We have to really make one jump ahead, or sometimes a jump back in terms of the look. Either we have to be more primitive or a little more futuristic. It depends.
Yeah. What shows are you talking about that they're comparing to? Seinfeld?
Yeah, exactly. Roseanne.
Now, this feels very weird. That's just rubber, I guess?
Yeah, this has several motors in it, and the guy's mouth actually opens and closes it. And you can see here, he'll make it move, and there's little wires and stuff that make the lips curl and peel back.
Where do you get the ideas?
Research, in terms of scientifically, we go to a lot of animal books and things like that, like National Geographic. We'll look for photos of something interesting. It could be anything. It could be a native, could be an animal, it could be a tree. I mean, we do a lot of research based off what exists here on Earth.
This guy looks familiar.
Well, this is kind of a neat alien. This was based off the actual encounter aliens people have said they've seen when they've been, abducted by aliens. So we're kind of proud of this guy, because on film he looked really neat and looked really real. So we're pretty inspired by doing things like that, by taking things that existed in our imagination or either folklore, like a Bigfoot or something, walking by the ship. Or, for example, this, the encounter aliens. So I thought it was kind of neat to actually get a chance to do something like this. This is our prop lockup where we hide all the masks so people don't be running down the street with them on. We put this on you. This is good. And actually, you do have a brain. And they said you didn't.
Who said that? Who said I didn't have a brain? Thank you for giving me a brain. I hate goodbyes. But, hey, this has been great. Thank you very much.
Come back anytime.
Good luck with the show.
Thank you.
Okay, see you later.
A lone figure, half man, half beast, emerges from the shadows of the city to rescue an innocent victim. But it is he who becomes victim to a love that can never be. Beauty and the Beast, weekdays at noon and 5 p.m. Eastern. Now, stay tuned for Mysteries from Beyond the Other Dominion, next.